Do you want to feel better after your loss? This episode is for you. You will learn the simple steps to feel better, and more importantly, you'll think about emotions, about your feelings in a whole new, different way. So, welcome to Grieve and Grow with Julia Go. And in this space, I want to offer you proven concepts, tools, and a process to help you grieve and grow, to get your power back, your trust, to love yourself and your life again after losing a baby, even if that seems impossible right now. I'm Julia Go, mom to Simon, who was born prematurely and who died in my arms 5 days later. And I also am a certified transformational master coach, trauma-informed grief expert, and coach and healer, specifically for women who experience the loss of a baby. And without further ado, let's dive into this week's episode. This week is a really important topic and one that I talk about with my clients right at the beginning of working together. And it is a theme that somehow connects all of us, even if we are not grieving. And if you ask me what I wanted the most 6 years ago after my son died, it would have been feeling better. Well, after wanting my son back, of course, but from the things that maybe someone could have helped me with, I would have said, oh well, I want to feel better again. So think about why this episode resonated with you. What is it that you are feeling that you don't want to feel anymore, that makes you say, I want to feel better? Why do you want to feel better? And it seems a little bit like a rhetorical question, but the reason we all want to feel better is that we're biased to think we should not feel any negative emotions. We usually avoid them, resist them, or react to them. And don't get me wrong, I'm right with you there. I think we all grew up learning exactly that, by not learning what exactly to do with our emotions. And that doesn't even always only apply to negative emotions. Sometimes we were also taught to push away positive emotions when they were too strong, when we were too excited, when we were too noisy, too loud. So let's talk about 3 things we usually do. Number 1, and I see that really often, is resistance, pushing an emotion away. So we're trying to convince ourselves that we should feel something else. Grief is a roller coaster of emotions, and that is just the way it is. And often, after a while, we start to listen to others, we start to listen to our brain, and we're telling ourselves things that are really, really unhelpful when we're grieving. Like, we should be somewhere else than we are emotionally. That we should not feel angry anymore. We should not feel guilty. We should not feel sad. We shouldn't feel so lonely, or sometimes it's the other way around, like, oh, we shouldn't feel happy. We shouldn't feel that sense of relief right now. And the thing is that we are resisting those emotions that are part of grief, that are part of life, and we try to push ourselves into other feelings. And that often actually is making us feel worse. We start trying to find a silver lining in what's happening. Like, we say things like, maybe the baby's in a better place now, or you hear it from someone else. He's no longer suffering. I'm still young. I should be strong. I have to put on a happy face. But instead we'll make it more like a misery for us. It's like fake it till you make it, but somehow you'll never make it. Now, if you actually believe some of those thoughts, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying what I just said, you shouldn't believe in that. Maybe your baby is no longer suffering and it gives you a sense of relief. That's great. And you still can be sad and angry about what happened. I had a few thoughts that helped me find peace every now and then after losing my son, but only because I believed them and they gave me peace. Repeating them after your brain and not believing them won't make you feel better. You're trying to force your emotions into something they are not. And I'm not sure if you heard that saying, but what you resist persists. Pushing your emotions away doesn't work. It prevents us from processing them. It prevents us from letting them be seen. And oftentimes when we are not feeling seen, we are in a way acting out and doing maybe something a little bit more extreme to be seen. And sometimes that's not the best thing to do. We do it anyways. It's similar with emotions. When they're pushed away, they often are coming back, but they're coming back a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more overwhelming. The second thing we often do to that, with emotions is reacting. So we notice the emotion, but instead of allowing it to be there, we react to it. If we're angry, maybe we cry or we yell, we slam doors, if we're frustrated, maybe we snap at our partner, or maybe we lecture ourselves in our minds. And instead of just noticing our emotions, we let it control our behavior. And I'm not saying that this is never happening in my life. It's just one way that we learn to deal with, and I'll give you another way today that will help you to process it a little bit different, a little bit better. And number 3, avoiding the emotions. A lot of people are really good in that, and I understand. We distract ourselves because we don't want to feel what we're feeling. So we run away from it. We kind of expect it coming, but we numb out with doing something else. So we keep ourselves really busy in one way. So we work more than we're usually working. We go shopping for like a little high, or we drink more than we're usually doing. And it's like we eat more. It's all the things that we overdoing, all the over shopping, overeating, over drinking, overworking, over busying. And that's okay. We've all been there. So what can you do instead? I'm going to spit out a big word that many of us struggle with, and that is allow. That is difficult in many areas of life, not just when it comes to emotions. And every time I successfully did it, every time my clients started allowing, something shifted. Sometimes we don't even notice until we reflect upon it, but something shifted. So you were probably tuning in, hoping I'll give you a way to change the way you're feeling. And we will talk about that in another episode, because there are ways that we can change and shift an emotion. But the big takeaway I want to have you from this episode is to stop being scared of your emotions. Stop making negative emotions a bad thing. It is what you do with them that makes the difference. And if you want to change them, the first thing you will need to do is allow them. The first thing you will need to do is say like, okay, welcome, you are here. What are we going to do with you now? Emotions are a part of the human experience. All of them. All of them are a part of the human experience, a part of grief especially. And I want to teach you today how you can feel your feelings, what steps you can use, and before I do that, I want you to know, or I want you to realize, to not use this episode as a new way to beat yourself up. I'm seeing that often with my clients. So I'm telling you this, I'm teaching you this, so you can learn a new way, not so you can say, I failed, I reacted, I failed, I ate, I failed, I tried to resist. You've learned all of those mechanisms, all of those ways to react to emotions your whole life. It is a pattern that developed, and only because now I teach you another way, you have another choice, it doesn't mean it will become naturally just because you know it to use that other choice. It will need practice, a lot of practice, and I'm practicing the tools I'm teaching for at least the last 6 years, and I've become a lot better. I can see the difference it makes in my life, I can see the difference it makes in my client's life, and I see that there is no perfection. So I'm a student of my work, I always will be, and I love doing the work I'm doing, because talking to my clients, seeing where they have their challenges right now in their life, oftentimes holds up a mirror for myself, saying like, yes, you do that as well. Remember, and then I can practice again. So I'm getting coached, and I have moments where I react, where I resist, where I avoid, but I also have this knowledge, and I can shift that and always practice to do it different the next time. So the thing is, for me, I saw how it worked, that it works, and if I feel my emotions, if I don't feel my emotions, if I resist, if I avoid, if I react, they usually come back stronger. They have like a super strong comeback. Like, well, you didn't want to see us? Here we are, like we talked about in the beginning. So what do I teach my clients? What do I want to teach you? 5 steps that you can do while you try to let go of your thoughts for a while. Thoughts will always come back, but you, in that situations, can just be like, okay, well, right now we're doing the focus thing. You can come back, no problem, but we'll do the now thing. So what we do is, let's use the acronym. I do love acronyms. Now, N-O-W, and B-E. And that stands for name it, open up to it, and witness it. And then be present, and emotional comebacks exist. So let's go for that. You name it. You can say, aha, interesting. I am feeling sadness, anger, guilt. And then you open up to it. Okay, I can allow myself to have this feeling. I can make space for it. I don't have to be afraid of it or have to get rid of it. Then you witness it. I can just watch this feeling in my body, see what it does. I don't have to get caught up in it. And let's see where I feel the emotion in my body. It's just an emotion, just a feeling to be felt, nothing more, nothing less. I'm not my emotions, really important. I'm the watcher of my emotions. And I will describe the emotion as detailed and objective as possible. So here are some questions that you can ask yourself. What you want to do is basically you want to describe this emotion to yourself in a way you would describe it to someone who never ever felt an emotion. Like, if we got a robot now and you want to program them to feel emotions, how does this emotion show up for you today? So where is it? What part of the body is it calling to you from? Where do you notice it? How does it move? Does it start in one place? Does it go to another? Is it big? Is it small? Is it fast or slow? Warm or cold? Heavy or light? Does it have a color? Does it have a texture? Is it soft? Is it bumpy? Is it slimy? Is it shiny? Does it make you want to do anything? And then you can just go for those questions with yourself, like really observe that emotion. And it might shift while doing that, like, oh yeah, it started in my tummy. Now it's actually getting a little bit less, and it is moving to my chest. It might look completely different for you. Ooh, it is a red fireball, and then you see the red fireball shrinking and just becoming like a fuzzy kind of light. And the idea is that you can do that at any time in your life. I recall it a meditation that I can share with you in the show notes, and this meditation is basically that kind of self-talk for you to practice, but you can use it without doing meditation. It just takes a moment in time to witness that emotion, to really go for it, see it for what it is. It's basically a vibration in your body. So then when you feel like, okay, yeah, I can deal with this, I feel this, it's okay, I can turn my attention back to the task that I'm doing right now and notice maybe what you're doing right now. Notice your breath, notice what you see and what's around you, and go back to what you're doing. That's okay. Like, we don't need to sit there all day, feel our emotions. That would be a little bit difficult because we all have lives. But be aware that emotional comebacks exist. So I feel like usually when I do the feeling thing, the emotion lessens to the point where I say like, okay, this is okay. So the idea is you feel this emotion and you're not scared anymore of it. It's like, okay, I felt this now. Fine, I can feel it again. Because the next point is emotional comeback exists. Sometimes you might feel the emotion returning, and that's okay. That's what emotions sometimes do when they're like, hey, yeah, no, I'm still there. And you can just go back to watch them again instead of pushing them away. It's like, okay, you have not been felt, you have not been seen enough, witnessed enough. We'll do this again. Okay. So I wanted to share with you as the last step, just one way how it could look like in real life. So the other day I noticed some overwhelm. I had a big to-do list. So all the things felt equally important, and the house didn't look the way I like it to. So there were a lot of things that were going on for me, and I could have done three things: resist, react, or avoid. So I could have done the resistance thing. Oh, I shouldn't feel like this. Yeah, I'll put this all on myself and I just cancel one of the projects, or I quit. Reacting would have been one of the things that I would have done before, and sometimes I still do. Like I said, we're all not perfect. It's like running around like a headless chicken, doing all things at once, and it's usually just causing more stress, frustration. I'm starting to snap at someone, usually my partner, my husband, and I'm going to end up by the end of the day feeling super exhausted because I've been in this high arousal state the whole day. And usually I did not feel like I have accomplished anything. Like, it's not like I really utilized the stress that I created with it. And the other really popular thing with overwhelm for a lot of people, including me, is avoiding. Because overwhelm does not feel good. We think like, no, we can't do this. Oh, avoid. And avoiding overwhelm usually leads to more overwhelm. So I would not look at my to-do list. I would just be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go there. And I don't want to feel overwhelmed. I don't want to feel anxiety. And I keep myself busy usually by doing things that might not be important, or by the things that are just like going around in my head. I do the busy work, like, okay, well, let's do the laundry. Or I watch TV or spend hours on YouTube and Facebook to really just avoid facing my to-do list, because I know if I look at that long list, the feeling's gonna come up even more. And now B is the method that I try to use now. And so I name the emotion overwhelm. I allow it, so I say, yeah, I can feel this. I open up to it. I'm open to my to-do list. I witness it. And that's the longer part, like, ooh, what does this overwhelm feel like? So I'm sitting there with my to-do list open. There's a tightness in my stomach and in my chest. My heart is racing. I feel it really heavy on my shoulders. It feels fast. I breathe shallow. It's a bit like I want to throw up. It's a bit like I want to get up and walk out of here. Like I have this, it feels racing, like it's going up and down, and it's like pulling me away from my to-do list. I feel a lot of tension, and so I sit there and I feel this, and I talk myself through this. And oftentimes when I do this, it's actually getting less. I allow it, and it is easing when I allow it. And I also use tools that help to calm down my nervous system that we will go through in another episode. It's like checking it out. Oh yeah, okay, how does it feel now? Interesting. I focus on breathing deep in my belly. Okay, that makes it a little better. But sometimes it's still there. This exercise is not about getting rid completely of the feelings, although they will lessen, but it's more about seeing that they are not a danger for you. Yeah, they are not scary and terrible. No, they are not feeling super good, but when you have a pain in your body, a physical pain, you need to pay attention to it too, so you can look at it and heal it. And then I realized that I have nothing to be afraid of. Like, okay, yeah, I feel this overwhelm, I can feel it, so I can also face my to-do list. And I can do that together with my emotion overwhelm, who helped me to see that I really need to get starting to work on this, because it is a lot and I need to do something. And if you want more examples of this, I can give you more, but let me know in the comments. I hope this helped you. That's how you can feel your feelings. It's completely different from avoiding, resisting them, or reacting to them. And emotions, that's the important part, are not problems to be fixed. They are just part of the human experience. So what I have learned is that emotions, especially the emotions of grief, will wait for us to be processed. Annoying, I know, but that's why when I talk to mothers who have lost their baby decades ago, some of them are still resisting their emotions, and as a result, they have not been able to heal. So they have actually not processed the trauma and the grief that they experienced, and they're still suffering. That's why I say time doesn't heal. Yeah, you can heal over time, but it's not the time that's healing you, it's your processing what happened. Now, of course, it's a little bit oversimplified here. Sometimes there's a lot more to it than just what we were talking about here, but still the skill of learning how to allow your emotions is something that will serve you forever. And we'll talk about more things, more ways to deal with your emotions that are also really helpful. Emotional freedom technique is one of them. But if you learn to feel your emotions, you'll no longer have to turn to anything outside of you. Yeah, you won't need to go to the fridge. You won't need to drink more alcohol. And trust me, I've been there, I've done that. And I'm glad I learned other techniques. And sometimes still my brain is like, oh, well, let's go to the, let's go back to the avoiding part. But we don't need to. We have a different choice that we can take and it needs the practice, needs learning, yeah. But when you know that emotions are part of the experience, part of life, they just happen, there are vibrations in your body, and you can allow them and they will pass. It takes practice, but it's practice worth doing. So remember, when you want to feel better now, name the emotion, open up to it, witness the experience as it runs through your body, and let it just run its course. I hope this episode was useful to you. If you like more support, always reach out to me. I believe in you. I believe in your ability to heal and grow, to love yourself and your life again. And I hope I see you the next time. Bye. Julia.